We are a few days from the festival of Succoth, very important festival, full of happiness and joy. So let us see what is behind the letters of the word Sukkah, what Sukkah means. So simply one knows the root of the word Sukkah is Chach, the cover. Why? As it is mentioned in the Torah in the following context. I made the children of Israel dwell in booths when I took them out of the land of Egypt. This is all taken from my book, try to explain much more, but Matityahu Glazerson, Sabbath and Festival, it's a book which one can get, GlazersonBooks.com, Amazon.com, or Kindle, or bookshops, I hope. So this is a simple meaning of Sukkah. Sukkah is a covering. And the reason for it, our rabbis tell us. According to Rabbi Akiva, he used to say that the verse refers to actual booths, which the Jewish people lived in the desert, and which protected them from the heat and sun of the desert. So this is the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. The simple meaning of Sukkah is a booth, and this where Jews lived in the desert for 40 years. No, definitely this itself also is a miracle. We have to remember it. This is what Rabbi Akiva says. Comes Rabbi Eliezer and says more. Rabbi Eliezer says, and this is his opinion, that the verse refers to the God's clouds of glory, which is called in Hebrew Ananiah Kavod, which protected Israel from the danger of the desert and from their enemies. In fact, it's written that many more things were on the clouds. Lot of miracles, really. So this is the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. So according to Rabbi Akiva, boots, according to Rabbi Eliezer, clouds. Clouds also, they covered the Jews in the desert from all sides is written, up and down, on the side also, And even one of them went before to kill the snakes and other things who could endanger them. But this is a simple explanation what Succoth is, what it does to remind us. In fact, there is a great emphasis that we should remember this. This is the purpose of the Sukkah, as the Torah says, Man yadu derotechem, your generation should know what happens in the desert. Kippah Sukkot shouted that I put the Jews in boots or clouds of glory for 40 years, not simple at all. So one have to remember this. This is part of this mitzvah, commandments of sitting in the sukkah. But as usually, when I always try to show names of festivals and other things, my booklet of Sophia and others, so there is a deeper significance to the word Succoth. Succoth, simple booth, but there is much deeper. And this is what our rabbis learn, that the word is also related to the root Succoth, which denotes language of seeing. So it is interesting that the Hebrew word Succoth, Soche, is looking, seeing. You see on Shabbat made called Soche, that God sees everything. And Iska, the name of Sarah before. Sarah was Iska, and our Rabbi said us because Iska comes from seeing, looking. She was in such a level that she could see with the Holy Spirit. So this is what is written about Sarah. This is the question, because she has intensely perceived the Holy Spirit. So what is the idea with Succoth, with the connection? Succoth is a time when Israel can gaze intently upon the Holy Spirit, and is expressed by the celebration of the drawing of water, which took place during Succoth, when the temple still existed. So it is known that at that time, when great joy and happiness took place with the drawing of the water, definitely there is a reason for it. Try to explain a little bit more. And this joy was so great that people could gain the Holy Spirit. Insight look into things. And this what really happened, as we said. The meaning of the Sukkah is sight, seeing, looking, and referring to the looking is the Holy Spirit, Ruach HaKodesh. So this is really the real term of Sukkah, which is implying the perception of the Holy Spirit, and that it has the same numerical value as the two names of God. God have two names, many more, but the famous one in our blessing, we said Adon, which is the master of the world, and Yud Kei Vav Kei, this is the name of mercy. Aleph Dalet Nun, Adon is judgment, God is like a judge, and Yud Kei Vav Kei is merciful Father, like we said, our Father, our King, when we pray Avinu Malkeinu Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, yeah. And this alludes to the heavenly source of the soul. So the name Adon, as we said, is symbolized as the forces of the soul working within man's own body. Together, these names coordinate the spiritual forces in man with the source of the soul in the upper worlds, which is really establishing the presence of the Holy Spirit. So this is also interesting because this comes also in the Gematria of Sukkah 91, which are these two names, Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, which is 65, and Yud Kei Vav Kei 26. And this is, the Sukkah is a time that these attributes of God comes out. There is another interesting interpretation to the word Sukkah, and it hints to the closeness between the lower verse and the upper verse, by the fact that it is related to the word Nesach, pouring, libation, offering. And in fact, this now that we mentioned about this happiness and joy, so the commandment was to pour water on the altar, and this really made connection with the upper water and the lower water, which were divided in the time of creation, Monday. And here, on this day, Succoth, those days, the connection between the upper and lower came. And this is the Hebrew word nasoch, which is pouring. Pouring, when you are pouring something, come from up to down. And this is what we have the term nisuch hamayim, the libation of the water offering. The word nesach alludes to one of the central mitzvahs that were performed on Sukkot, the pouring out of water at the temple altar. According to our sages, this pour offering comes, as it were, to appease the waters on earth, which were brought here from the upper world by God. the pouring of water at the altar raises the waters of the earth to their heavenly state once again. The performance of this mitzvah was accompanied by much gaiety and celebration, because happiness has the power to connect the lower and upper worlds. This meeting of upper and lower worlds comes after days of awe, during which the sins that separate man from his Creator are atoned for and forgiven. It is then the bond between below and above is made strong as it was in the beginning. So it is so interesting that basically Rosh Hashanah is mainly a day of judgment. We said this is a time that really we have to realize that God is a king, master over the world, to accept the yoke of kingdom of heaven. This is mainly to do with din judgment. Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, this letter 65. While Yom Kippur is a day of mercy, God forgive us, pardon. And this what really the day of Yom Kippur is had to do with the letter Yud Kevav, the letter of God which present mercy, loving kindness. This also the 4 garments which are white that high priest dress with in the service. And this combination of the 2, judgment and mercy, are the 2 names, Adon and Yud Kevav, come to 91, the Matityahu of Succoth. It is very interesting that in the word Sukkah, the boot Sukkah, the outer letters, like Sukkah, Samech and A, are 65, represent Dina, judgment. And the inner letter, Kaf Vav, 26, name of God, mercy. The idea behind is to show that even when you have, unfortunately, harsh time, difficult time, judgments, we should know within this there is mercy. This is the mercy of God. Like a man goes through operation, troubles, not simple. But because of this, he is healed and is cured, definitely is able to live normal life. So even outside it looks very severe, very difficult, cutting you and so on. But basically inside is good. This is exactly what Sukkah represents. Sukkah looks outside like judgment, but inside is full of mercy. And this you can see the letters of the word Sukkah. The atonement and pardoning of sins as preparation for Sukkot is revealed by the verse of the Zohar. Very interesting. Kabbalah, the Zohar said, interesting idea, and he said, according to the Zohar, the verse that we say on the locking of the gates, which is the last prayer of Yom Kippur, so like this. So there is a verse in the Torah, we know about the meeting with Jacob and Esau. So it's written there, and on the day Esau again went on his way. This is really after the meeting with Esau and Jacob, which really, according to Kabbalah, represents the days of Yom Kippur. So the verse which says about Esau, that on that day Esau again went on his way, like he left Jacob, refers to the time of the prayer of Neilah, looking of the gates, on Yom Kippur, after the sins of Israel have been removed by the expulsion of the scapegoat. On Azazel, we know this story, part of the main offering, not exactly offering, but in Yom Kippur was the scapegoat, which, was thrown down, and he carried with him all the sins of the Jewish people. And clear sign of atonement. So the idea of it was, as we mentioned about Yom Kippur, is that on Yom Kippur we see clearly that all the unfortunate phenomena in Israel, by Jews, wrong things dying, terrible, unfortunately what we can do. There are negative things happening, but it is a result, the influence of the Gentiles where they are, unfortunately. But basically the soul, the spirit of the Jew is pure and clean, and it is unfortunately really affected by the wrong environment, people, friends, so on, unfortunately. Yom Kippur shows you what is a pure, clean position of the neshama. And this exactly is in the end of Yom Kippur with this prayer. And the idea that Isu, or better to say the scapegoat, which represents Isu, carrying the sins of Jews, exactly this is the idea. That unfortunately Isu, this unfortunately idolatry, it's communism, all everything which have to do with the red, with Edom, which unfortunately affects the Jews, so many Jews became communists and so on. You know quite well the story with Stalin, and how many Jews are involved with wrong things against Judaism even, So this is exactly what the scapegoat is doing. He's carrying on these sins, showing these sins belong to Isu, to Edom, and he throws him to the desert. So this is really the part of the last prayer of Yom Kippur. So this is really what is written after this verse, after this passage, is the Torah state, and Jacob traveled to Succoth, a direct allusion to the holiday of Succoth. Unbelievable. Means Sukkot comes after all this atonement, forgiveness the Jews had, and clearly seeing what is the true essence of a Jew. Another interesting idea about the word Sukkah is the numerical value of the word Sukkah. If you take the word Sukkah, adding the total, because many times in Gematria you add the total, we give us the full picture. So Sukkah, the numerical value, the Gematria of Sukkah is 85, some are 60, Kaf 20, 5. So plus the value of 1 for the word itself equals 86, the same as the word Elohim, which represents judgment. And we said that really basically looking on the Sukkah from outside is judgment. The similarity emphasizes the relationship between the upper and the lower verse, this name. Why? The upper verse is represented by the brain, the mind, which is the seat of the higher part of the soul, neshama. The lower world is represented by lev, by the heart, which is lower, represent mainly the emotional. The brain is with the intellectual, have to do with the word of Bria, creation, and lev have to do with the lower word called book of formation, Yetzirah, emotional. So the seat of the lower part, this is the heart. So the numerical value, moach and lev, if you write the word moach, brain and heart, combined together is 86, like Elohim. This connection was depicted by the recital of the 15 Psalms on the 15 steps between the women area and Israelis in the temple, The women area represents the heart, the emotion, the feeling, which receives input from the mind and is influenced by the mind's understanding. Very interesting. So the number 15 itself, it is known, is numerical value of the holy letters of God, the first one, the two. First one, Yud and A, Yud representing the mind, wisdom, and A representing the heart, understanding, emotion. On Succoth, the illumination of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is revealed. For as we saw above, these two holidays also correspond to the mind and the heart. Rosh Hashanah, and even we say the Chama, the sun is shining on Rosh Hashanah, not yet the moon, which is the heart, but on Yom Kippur. So the light which was covered during the days of awe now becomes Succoth. Now they are envisioned during the days of Succoth. Our sages also explain that the 4 holidays, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Succoth, and Shmini Atzeret correspond to the 4 letters of God. Succoth and Shmini Atzeret represent the letter Vav and Hey, the last 2 letters, which symbolize God's manifest supervision, while the letters A and Yud of this name symbolize the subtle unseen control which he exerts, which is really the mind and the heart. Our rabbis infer from the passage Kiyad al Keska, very famous verse about Amalek, which can be translated, for the hand of Amalek is upon the throne of God, that Amalek is a force which veils God's supervision in the wilderness. However, God's clouds of glory were present and they protected Israel from Amalek. Only when the clouds dispersed after Aaron's death did Amalek return to wage war with Israel. That means altogether, it's so interesting. If you go into the letters of Sukkah, they represent Kavre, represent sight. And this is behind the Sukkah, yeah, and also defending the Jews, so much behind. Also, indication to the connection of the upper and the lower, like Nasoch, as we say. All of them really give us very deep insight into this festival Sukkot. We have so much. If you see in my book, I have so many ideas which I brought about Sukkot. And the Sukkot and the 4 meaning, the 4 spices, is so much to speak about. Maybe do a lecture on this subject by itself. But now we are really concentrated on the word Sukkot. And this is really what, as we said, the idea of Sukkah, covering and sight, all of that. It is interesting that the rules and regulation of building a Sukkah are hinted in the letters of the word Sukkah. Yeah, it means in the letter Sukkah, Samech, if you know, in Hebrew, Samech is like a round, Kaf is like half a round, and A also is like building. So our rabbis tell us, very interesting, about the laws how to build a Sukkah and when Sukkah is kosher. So, normally it should have 4 walls, as in the shape of the letter Samech. Samach is completely round, so round, it even has 4 walls. A Sukkah of 3 sides is accepted also, but it then would be in the form of the letter Kaf. Kaf is open in one side, Kaf, you have 3 walls. Even a Sukkah with 2 complete walls and a 3rd wall of only a few inches length, also, if built correctly, is proper. We find a hint to this in the shape of the letter Hey. Yeah. Letter A has 2 walls and a small one. Sukkah has a numerical value of 91, as we said, and this all represents this idea. much more is behind different ways of Gematria. This is what I wrote in my book, Through the Lens of Gematria. One can get it in my site. Yeah, about 200 pages about different kinds of Gematria. People think Gematria is 1, 2, 3. No, Gematria full letter, inner letter, outer letter, so much behind Gematria. So I give you an example of the full numerical value of Succoth. So these different riches by spelling out the letter fully, like Samech, Mem Kaf, Vav Yud Vav, Kaf Pe, it's a full letter. So the number of positive mitzvahs found in the Torah are how many? 248. If you take the letters, the inner letter, what we mentioned about Sukkah, Mem Kaf and Yud Vav, Pa, come also to 248. So this equality of numerical values points out the great holiness which is entailed on the mitzvah of the Sukkah. In fact, the Sukkah is such important and holy commandment, which is like the 248 positive mitzvah that the Jew have to keep. We may also interpret this as an indication that all 248 limbs of a man, the 248, are involved in the mitzvah of the Sukkah. For our sages have written, this is a mitzvah which elicits the participation of one's whole body. So, as I said, there's so much more behind. And I think that try to digest what I said now, because I think it's very important. It gives you different tastes to the holiday. People don't know exactly what the festival is. Sukkot, you don't sit in a Sukkot. No, it's much more. Especially as we mentioned, that on Sukkot there is special command or importance to remember why we are in the Sukkot, to remember our history in the desert, how God surround us with cloud of glory. And definitely this is really what the Torah says, that you should sit in the Sukkah, leman yedu dorotechem, that your generation should know, knowing what is Sukkah. As I said, so much more in my book about Sukkah, and that's what seeing it, getting it. So, I hope that next lecture, Mirat Hashem, will be on the 4 species, 4 minim, the lulav, the etrog, the arava, that represent many important things and have a lot idea behind. So, meantime, have a good Shabbos. We are still before Shabbos. I give you a few days to learn about it.